We're going to do a perfectly grilled filet mignon over roasted Brussels sprouts with sauteed mushrooms. And it all starts with the butcher and a lightning hot grill. Let's get started. So while the steaks marinate, we're gonna go ahead and roast the Brussels sprouts. And what I did, I went ahead and prepped some already, but Brussels sprouts are great roasting vegetables. And of course, like when you have a steak, you need a nice green veg with it. And so these are just something that are gaining a lot of popularity right now. But you wanna cut the end off, and then you wanna cut down the center. If it's too big, if it's small, you can just leave it alone. And don't worry about those loose leaves. And then you just throw that in the pan. Got a little bit of olive oil, drizzle that on. And we've got a little bit of kosher salt. And then of course some coarse ground black pepper. And we've got the oven set for 375 degrees. And we're gonna let them roast for, I'm gonna say about 30 minutes, but we're gonna take a look at it after 15 or 20 just to make sure. You know, not all Brussels sprouts are created equal, so we have to make sure that they're cooked the way you like them, but you want a really nice brown color on them. We'll just slide these in. Now it's time for the financial tip of the week. So this week's tip, 401ks. When to roll them over, how do I roll them over? And more importantly, the question we're getting so much right now is, do I roll it over all into gold? Especially because, you know, we're in really volatile times right now. People are hearing that gold is a great asset class to invest in. And it is a good asset class, but let's talk about the 401ks. When to roll them over. If you're retired and you've got the money just sitting dormant with your old employer, you absolutely want to get it out of there. And the reason why is just simply, what if that company were to get into a lawsuit or some other form of litigation? Your assets may end up getting locked up and you'll get them, but at that point, it's just going to become a struggle. Now, in regards to gold, is gold a good asset class to have in volatile times? Yes, precious metals are. We even have some precious metals in our portfolios at our firm, but you never want to have more than 10% of your portfolio in that type of asset class. If you want to talk more about that, email me at info@swdgroup.com and we can help you. Now, let's get back to the steaks. Now we're gonna go on to the sauteed mushrooms. And when I was growing up, I hated mushrooms. And I know a lot of people don't like them now, but I promise you, they're absolutely sensational and they're a tremendous accompaniment to the filet. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do about a 1/4 cup of safflower oil. And again, you can use canola oil or a vegetable oil. Just again, don't wanna use olive oil because it has a low smoke point and then you just don't wanna burn it. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix that with 1 stick of butter. And I use 16 ounces of mushrooms here, so 2 8-ounce packages of mushrooms. And then what I go ahead and do, normally you would wait and let all that melt, but I go ahead and dump the whole thing in there. Mushrooms are really porous, almost like a sponge. They really absorb a lot of stuff, a lot of liquids and things like that. So the pan will look really, really full. You wanna make sure you use a big pan, but as they cook, it's really gonna shrink down. But as far as seasonings go, I use kosher salt, I use coarse ground pepper, I use garlic powder, I use Italian seasoning, and I use cayenne pepper. And then of course we're gonna finish it with a little wine later on. And when we talk about wine, I firmly believe that only use wine that you would drink yourself. And I use a red wine, my wife loves Pinot Noir, so that's what I'm using. If you wanna use Cabernet, go ahead and use Cabernet. If you wanna use a Zinfandel, use a Zinfandel. But I just go with the one that we have, and of course this is one that I would drink. So we're gonna season the mushrooms, and then just give it a little bit of time. No hurry, you know, just let it start getting happy in there, and then we're gonna mix it all up, and then let it reduce. Basically, we're just trying to cook or grill the perfect filet. And so I think, you know, a really, really lightning hot grill, nice simple veg like Brussels sprouts, and then some sauteed mushrooms to accompaniment, doesn't get any better than that. After they start getting going, I like to give them a little toss in the pan. And basically you're just flipping it over, but it's all in the wrist. See, like right about now, I bet you wish that your TV or your computer monitor was scratch and sniff because you cannot even believe what it smells like. But they're getting really, really happy, and we're gonna make them even more happy here in just a second. What we're gonna do is just let them go for a little while. It'll boil and then it'll reduce completely down. So we're just gonna lower that to about medium heat, and then just let that go for about 5–10 minutes. So many people wanna know, how do you grill the perfect filet mignon? And really, it starts at the butcher. Trust who your butcher is. Ask them questions. How long do they age the meat? And unlike seafood, where you want the meat as early as possible from when it's caught, beef actually needs to age for a while, and it gets better with age. It's actually it's at its best right before it goes bad. But anyway, you want to look for good marbling, and just so you know, marbling are all those little white speckles that you see throughout the meat. You want to see good marbling. Trust the butcher, ask him questions, buy the meat, and then of course a lightning hot grill. You want to get the grill as hot as it can, somewhere around 640, 650 degrees. And what I'm getting ready to tell you next, some people would say is sacrilegious, but I'm telling you it's not. I marinate the fillets in a mixture of extra virgin olive oil, Montreal steak seasoning, and soy sauce. Very, very simple, but I marinate them for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then one of the other big keys is you want to let the steaks sit outside of the fridge for at least an hour before you grill them. So we've got them sitting right here. We're gonna throw them on the grill. And this will be quick, so it won't take too long. Obviously, make sure that the grill is clean. You got nice clean grates, and don't worry about the flare-ups. That's just the oil meeting with the heat. So you want to place them evenly apart, and then what we're going to do is we're going to close the grill for about 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, and then we're going to turn them about 3/4 of the way, about 1/3 of the way. And the reason why we're doing that, we want really nice grill marks. And grill marks look great, but part of that also is we want a nice sear from surface to surface, so that way every single bite tastes delicious. So what you want to do then is go about 1/4, maybe 1/3 of a turn, and I like to move it just a little bit away from the spot that I was on, because those grills have cooled a little bit. So you want to go to another hot spot. It's been 6 minutes, now it's time to flip. Should we keep our fingers crossed? Maybe we have good marks, maybe we don't. I don't know. Oh, we do. So in total, it's been about 12 minutes. And it's one of those things, if you undercook it, that's okay, because you can always bring it up. If you want it medium well, then I'm gonna suggest probably about 15-ish minutes. But there's no exact science as far as the time goes. These were about 2 to maybe 2 1/4 inch thick. If you get them thicker, you're gonna have to cook them longer. If you get them thinner, then obviously you cook them shorter. But like I said, I always try to err on the underside, because you can always cook them more, you can never cook them less. So let's go ahead and take them off, and we're gonna wrap a bow on this. All right, so the mushrooms are done, the Brussels sprouts are done, the steaks are resting, and just so you know, when you grill a steak, you need to let it rest for at least 5 minutes. A better option is 10 minutes, and the reason why is because when you're cooking it on that grill under that high heat, the muscle tends to constrict, and so it'll hold all of that juice, or the other word for that is actually called myoglobin, holds it all in. So if you take it right off the grill, put it on your plate, and then cut right into it, you're gonna see those red juices run all over the place. And a lot of people think that's blood, and it's not. It's just a protein called myoglobin. So we'll still have some run out, but if you let it rest for at least 5 minutes, but preferably up to 10 minutes, then it'll let the juices go all the way back out. So it's been 5 minutes now. We're gonna go ahead and slice into one. And I normally, when it comes to a filet, I don't normally serve it sliced. I would serve something like a hanger steak sliced, or maybe a flat iron steak or something like that. Normally I would let the protein work for itself, but I was just gonna slice this one just to show you what it looks like. So we've got the Brussels sprouts. They're nice and got good, nice caramel color to them. They're gonna have some sweetness to them. And then we'll take the meat. You wanna go nice, smooth strokes. Take that, rest that on there nicely. And then just take some of the mushrooms and go straight on the top. And there you have it, a perfectly grilled filet mignon over roasted Brussels sprouts with sauteed mushrooms. If you have any questions about what we did today, email me at info@swdgroup.com and we'll share the recipe with you. I'm Rob D'Alessio and this was A Taste of Retirement.